Hi everyone and welcome to another video. This video is a little bit different because it's actually going to be kind of study related. And I know I'm not a studygram, I'm not a study YouTube channel, but I still really think, even though I just graduated, I have a lot of tips and stuff that I can share. And that's not necessarily what I'm doing today, but there probably will be videos in the future based on studying and tips for studying, but I figured this one would be a good video because I kind of half don't know what I'm doing, and I figured that would be a nice thing to share because I know I sometimes feel a little bit stupid trying to study French, and that is what this video will be about. So I'm pretty much just going to be sharing with you how I sort of study. I know it's probably not the best way to study French, but it works for me, and I figured I may as well share to either get tips from you guys, see what you guys use, or maybe, you know, something that I do might inspire you to start learning a language. I've been watching a lot of language-based videos lately, especially Polyglot Progress. I'm pretty sure it's their channel name. I can never remember if it's Process or Progress. I'll put it in the description below. But I've been watching them for a little while, like rewatching some of their notebook videos, and I really was struggling to figure out how to set up my notebook. And I don't really know why that is. I think it's just my personality and how my brain thinks. But pretty much all I use to study French is I have my phone, and this lock screen is actually from Inkstruck Studio on Instagram. I'll link them below. But I use Forest. I'm not sponsored by anything in this video. This is just what I use. And I usually do it in 25 or 30 minute rounds. So kind of adopting the Pomodoro method that I just have started trying out. Forest is really awesome because it makes you stop using your phone, which is, I am so guilty for doing that. So, yeah, I just set it to 25 or 30 minutes. I'll probably set it to 30 for this video because I'm going to be doing just a little time lapse at the end, kind of a study with me kind of thing. But I use Forest. I also use Spotify just for like background noise. The one I use is either the electronic studying one. Well, I think that's actually on Pandora, but I'm sure there's one on here on Spotify for it. But I use either some sort of electronic or dubstep or something that I can just have in the background, or I usually use the Calm Sound 24 hours. I think it's just Calm Sound. I'm not really sure what it's actually called, but if I can, I will leave a link down below or just put the name of it so that you guys can check it out. It's pretty much just like nature sounds and stuff. My favorite one is the underwater sounds one, like the 2-hour one. That's just me though. Some people can do full on, you know, lyrical music. Some people need instrumental. I personally love instrumental or anything that doesn't have words in it. So that's the kind of music I usually have in the background, if I have any at all. I also have, this is just my Nook. It's pretty much just a Samsung tablet, but it's an e-reader. It's my Nook. I use Duolingo, and I've just recently started using Memrise. So Duolingo I've used for probably about a year now, and it's been super on and off. I'll be like super into it and then totally not work on it whatsoever, but in 2018 I'm really trying to learn French. Like, I was really good at it in high school, and I really enjoyed it, and since I'm an artist, a lot of the stuff I look at is in French. So, and plus just a lot of my followers and stuff are French or know French, and I just really love the language. So I've been really trying to relearn it, even though I never really was fluent in it. Anyways, but I use Duolingo and Memrise. Duolingo is really nice because it's kind of like a game. Both of them are really kind of like games, but I personally use Duolingo first. And for some reason it takes forever to come up. I don't know why. I used Duolingo first, and I got pretty far in that. Not like ridiculously far, but pretty far. And Again, it's kind of like set up like a game. You have checkpoints and stuff. And I'm currently to pronouns. Yeah, I'm down to pronouns next to the next checkpoint. So if anybody who is also doing it is around that area, let me know, we can be buddies. So yeah, I used Duolingo and I got this far, and then I found Memrise, and I actually really like that I did it that way, because Memrise is now working as sort of a rebuilding tool, like a review tool, since a lot of the words I already know. It's just helping me build it in a different way. And both Duolingo and Memrise are very different in the way that they teach it. So Duolingo's pretty standard for every level, where with Memrise it gets not necessarily harder, but they switch it up a lot more. Like, you have speed reviews, you have listening, you have typing, you have everything. Like in Duolingo, it's pretty standard for every level, every lesson. In Memrise, you never know what you're going to get next. So it's a different kind of way of thinking for both. Memrise, in my opinion, is a lot more intense than Duolingo. I mean, that's just me. Could just be me, who knows? But those are the two apps that I use to learn French. And I also have an accountability buddy now. So B of Bumbling Bujo is my accountability buddy for Duolingo. Both of us have always said, oh my god, we need to learn this, we need to learn that, blah blah blah. But we would never end up doing it because we didn't have somebody to kick us in the butt and actually tell us to do it. So every day, B and I will message each other and be like, Duolingo? Like, did you do it today? And it's worked, actually. I was really surprised that it worked so well. So she actually messaged me about 6 hours ago, and I still haven't done it because I was saving it for this video for today. So let's see if I can get it done in the next hour, because it's currently 11 p.m. So, and I also have a notebook. I've seen from all my videos I've watched, not my videos, but other people's videos I've watched, they always had a notebook, and I personally loved taking notes. It was my favorite part of college, of high school. Notes were just always my favorite. When I first started this journal a couple months ago, I was treating it more like a bullet journal rather than a notebook. So the first couple pages are kind of collection looking. I had also just gotten my first Tombos, so I was using them as the sort of, headers, and then doing the fancy scribble thing, whatever. In the front, I just have tips for learning foreign languages, just for my own reference. I figured out that knowing the 100 common words is a good idea, just from a website I found. I have some website resources. These were ones that either were that either people told me about, or that I found on my own, or that were on a list of best language learning resources, blah blah blah. I just wrote these down and then did a little blurb underneath it to sort of just give me an example of like what kind of website it is. So, for example, learnalanguage.com is vocabulary lists and conjugation charts. Digital Dialects is voice translation game, just that kind of thing. So that way, if I'm bored one day, I can just look it up and start doing it at work, I don't really know where I was going with this. I think I was trying to make a table of contents kind of thing, but then I just kind of got sick of trying to figure out all the different kinds of vocabulary I would need. So I just went on to actual note-taking. This was when I found Memrise a few days ago from filming this video, and I just decided, screw it. I am just going to go along with the lesson and act like it's a lesson in school and just take notes on the words and just go with it. Just screw it. I don't care what it looks like. Just do it. Just write it down, because for me, writing stuff down helps me remember it better. So for me to just write these down really, really helped. Another thing with Memrise too is that it teaches you phrases a lot more than just words, and I really like that too. But pretty much this is just my first page of vocab from the Memrise lessons. I did level 1 and level 2 vocab, and then they had a little section for learn with locals. It's like a free trial thing, whatever. And then I went on to Duolingo, and started taking notes that way. And not that my notes are any good, it's pretty much this vocab list of words that I either didn't know or couldn't remember or something. If I already know the word, I'm not going to waste my time writing it down. But if it's a word that I always get mixed up with another one, I'll write it down. Like the possessives, I sometimes got mixed up and I couldn't remember which ones were which, like male, female, whatever. So I just made a little chart for myself. And I just went down the line of words that I just didn't know off the top of my head. If I couldn't get it within 3 seconds, I wrote it down pretty much. So that's pretty much just what I did. This way, if I'm stuck or if I'm reading something online or if I'm watching a video and I hear a word and I don't really remember it, I can look through here and see if I can find it. These, I've just been using my Crayola Super Tips. For the headers and the highlighting, I just do a little dash and write on top of it with my Pilot G2 pen. So, nothing fancy over here. I actually prefer my Crayolas over my Tombos for this. And I've started now that I've started taking notes this way. With Duolingo, I will actually just take the entire circle course. Like this one, for example, is the Adjectives 2 course. Lesson, whatever. I just took that entire bubble and just did the entire thing and just wrote all the words that I didn't know from that lesson, so that way I know which one to go back to. I really kind of wish I would have done that in the first place with Duolingo, so that way I could go back, but I mean, I can always go back and just redo all the lessons, but that would take a long time, so I'm not going to do that right away. Maybe if I go back and have to, like, strengthen the lessons, because in Duolingo, I think Memrise does it too, where if you leave it for a while, it will, your words will weaken and you have to go back and strengthen them up. It's pretty much just like a review game, but maybe once I do that, I can just do like a big review page and just go through it, so. And then this is just another Memrise page I did. I just changed the colors depending on how I feel, to be honest. Nothing special. I also like, too, that Memrise explains it a little better. Like, Eska, I, for some reason, could never figure out what exactly it translated to. I don't know why. It was just that word that I always had to look up. I messed up. And Memrise actually showed me, this is actually what it means. And I'm like, oh, okay, because Duolingo sometimes just... there's too many options underneath it, and yes, it can mean all those things, but which one did it mean for that one, you know? So, again, that's just how my brain works, but, I also use the app. I know a lot of people use it on the computer. You can use Duolingo on the computer as well. I just bookmarked it on my computer. I've never used it on there before, but I will be using the app today. So that is pretty much just all of my supplies-wise that I use for studying French. Again, just because you're not in school doesn't mean you can't study. I personally love learning new things and studying. I'm actually going to be doing a whole series of study videos, so keep an eye out for that. And I guess I will just go ahead and get started because I now have 52 minutes to do 50 XP of Duolingo. So, let's go!